And so my walk with God was always on what I had to gain, and not what others or what Jesus had to gain from my sacrifice. Is somebody hearing what I'm saying? Can I help you this night? There is a reason why many people have not hit what they are looking for. I will never forget a day a brother came in 400 level and told me God told him that he should be praying for the campus every Saturday night between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. And he started praying for the campus consistently. He will look for me all the time to come and join him to pray, and he will never find me because I confirmed the time and made sure that I was not available at that time. And of course, when he finds me later on during the week, I will give him an excuse or the other. There was nothing exciting about God to be giving myself so much stress for because of UI. What is UI? What did they do for me? Why am I praying in tongues for UI? Who is UI? Why? I love you, Jesus. Can you just tell him those words? I love you, Jesus. Come on, come on. In the process of time, God used my lust, that is what I wanted. He used my lust to get my attention. Like many of us, He used your lust, what you're looking for, to get your attention. And when He finally got your attention, He began to clean you up. Yes or no? Some of you understand what I'm saying. If you're wondering why you're stuck, it's because you're refusing to yield to the dealings of God in the repairing of your altar. Because the fire is not going to come on just any altar. Is somebody hearing what I'm saying? And you see, every altar represented here knows what is wrong with them. You might not admit it, but you know. You know. And you know what has not been corrected, even though you were making sacrifices. Are you following? And so do we agree that it's possible to make sacrifices and be doing it because you want other people to see that you're making sacrifices? Yes or no? Is it possible to make sacrifices and it's adding to your pride every day as you keep on heaping the sacrifices? And one day, my president was talking about a man who once walked the campus, who took the campus for Jesus, and how people would gather from other fellowships, not caring the fellowships they represent, and they would gather for a meeting he convened personally. He held that meeting in Trenchard Hall, and people would gather all over from all the fellowships. And he was not the AUCSF president. People will be massively blessed. He was a phenomenon in the campus. And I was excited about that because he told me something the guy did. He said one day the guy told him that he walked round UI 7 times. Prayer walking. As for 7 nights. And so my eyes opened. Wow. Okay. So if I walk around UI 7 times, I can take this campus. Then my name will be popular all over UI. It's not a bad idea. Is it a bad idea? It's not a bad idea. And so I began. This was sacrifice, yes or no? Many times you don't even know what is energizing you to do the good things that you are doing. Good things, but you are still not well. And so I began to trek around UI. Nobody sent me message. I was trekking around by myself. Because I was looking for something. First night, second night, third night. I think the third night I slept off. I couldn't do it. And so I started again. And I completed my 7 nights. On the 7th night, as I stepped on chapel ground, I heard the voice of God, and He said, whose feet will you stamp in the sands of time? And I bet you I know the right answer to the question. Whose feet? Whose feet now? Jesus. There's nobody here who does not have the right answers to every question we're asked. I've been in church enough to answer that question well. Jesus at the center of it all. But God does not ask foolish questions. When He asks you a question, it is addressing something in your heart that must be dealt with. And so when He said that, I said, Is your feet, oh, your feet, oh, is your feet. But in my heart, I knew that it was my feet. If it was His feet, I won't be trekking around UI like that. It took me 55 minutes to 1 hour every night to do that. Is somebody hearing what I'm saying? The encounters you have had determines the sacrifices you are ready to make for God. How deep an encounter you had was determines how much sacrifice you are ready to make because of it. That's why I don't push people to press. Don't worry. Just see first. When you see, you can't stop pressing. It's usually too late to turn back. And that's why we pray tonight that the eyes of our understanding will be enlightened. I don't want you just praying in tongues very loudly tonight and assume that you had a wonderful experience. Meanwhile, it was just an emotional experience. Until something permanent happens to you that wakes you up 4 a.m. tomorrow morning and keeps you praying in the Spirit till tomorrow night. Until it's like that, I'm not impressed. And it drives you like that for months. And I meet you 2 years after and you say you came to Funab. And you spoke to us. And from that time till now, I have been running, hungry for God, seeking God 5, 6, 7 hours every day. And these are the fruits to accompany my prayers. Until I hear that, I'm not interested in the encounter you had this night. I'm no longer interested in how many parts of the floor you were able to clean with your clothes. I'm no longer interested in how many plastic chairs broke when you received your encounter. Because until something happens to your altar, until your heart is set right, nothing serious comes from heaven. Elijah knew this. So God began to deal with my heart to show me what was inside. Needless to say, I had some issues that I was experiencing that put me in a very sensitive spot, a vulnerable spot where I was needing God to solve my problem. I remember checking my results. I think it was 400 level. And I saw a carryover. And then I ran to my mom's office in church and lay down with my Bible and started reading. From night till the next night. You know why? I had already known at that point that if I don't stay in His presence, this particular setback was going to crash me. I would cave in and begin to doubt God's love for me and His plans for my life. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Can I speak to you guys? I was in such a position that it didn't matter what God did. I couldn't take glory. There was nothing to take because there was something I needed to do in my life. The next night I went for a ministration in my secondary school. And I saw the power of God like I've never seen before. I saw a lady levitate under the power of God and was dropping. Pa, pa, pa. I was shouting, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. The next morning, when they came back for testimonies, they couldn't approach me because of how much light was coming from my body. And yet, that night before I slept, you know what my statement was? I said, Jesus, thank you, Sha. I like it. But please, solve my problem. God bless you. And I slept. I stand before God and I know that's exactly what I said. I blessed Jesus. Because I was not in the mood even for the miracles that were happening. Can I talk to somebody here tonight? God bless you, alright? Let that be the last one. I'm beginning to realize the way your foundation was laid as a Christian determines how far you will go. I'm beginning to see that. That's why I'm not moved by many people's so-called ginger. Because I know one more process is still left. And that is the process of what? Death. You must die to live. Are you hearing what I'm saying? If you like, hear. If you like, don't hear. This very same thing, somebody else will come and say it if you don't listen to it now. Don't worry. Something funny happened to me in 2012, 2011. I don't remember which year. I went for a camp meeting, some teenagers, and we're preparing to minister to them, me and some of my friends, about 4 of us. We're just praying in the spirit. And I spoke in tongues and interpreted. I usually, God speaks to me like that. I'll speak in tongues and then interpret it, and then it's an instruction to me or a message to me. So I was speaking in tongues. And then I heard myself say, after you finish going round and round and round and round, round and round and round, you will come back to this same spot and we'll start from where we stopped. And then I stopped. After you have finished going round and round, is it me? Is it them? You will come back to this same spot and then you start from where we stopped. Sir, how long do you want to go round and round? That means I'm the one determining how fast I'm moving. Yes or no? It's not up to God. There are so many things we think are up to God. It is not up to God. He did the most and everything that should be done on his own part by dying. And he said it is what? Finished. He has finished his own part. Everything you are experiencing, believe me, everything you are experiencing, sometimes you are tempted to feel God has a hand. God must have a hand somehow. He is almighty. He must have a hand in all these things. Believe me, everything you are experiencing, when you are now better enlightened, you will see that it was you. Not just you, many things people are experiencing around